special coverage, continuing coverage of this historic day of flooding.
Yeah, it really has been a weekend here no one in Middle Tennessee will ever forget.
It is the worst flooding the state has ever seen, and we do have—
On May 1st, 2010, Nashville experienced a 100-year rainfall event. If the rain would have stopped there, would have been a minor event, we would have had no problems. But the problem occurred on Sunday, May 2nd, an additional 100-year rainfall event occurred. 7.5 inches of rain fell. Those 13.5 inches of rain swelled every stream, waterway, river in the city of Nashville. The water had nowhere to go.
Coca-Cola Consolidated is the largest Coke bottler in the United States. We produce annually about 315 million cases across 12 production sites. When we're not manufacturing products, we're not selling products, so it is critical to our business to stay up and manufacturing. What makes Nashville unique is most of the product produced in Nashville stays in the Nashville area. So it's a critically important production site for us.
The Coca-Cola facility is located in a high hazard or 100-year flood zone. Browns Creek runs adjacent to the facility, and during extremely heavy rainfall events, Browns Creek will overflow its banks and flow a lot of water toward the facility.
The water will actually start to come in there into the parking lot before it even crests the hill. Okay. So once that happens, it starts flowing in and coming this way, as well as going up towards the front. We have the water from the parking lot area, the runoff running all the way down here. And then we also have water from the railroad tracks pouring in at the same time. And it all converges onto this spot here and just creates a giant lake, which once it hits a certain level, starts flowing inside of the building.
I have never witnessed a flash flood, and to see the devastation and how quickly it devastated was awe-inspiring. The water flowing through the building is estimated to be traveling at 35 to 40 miles an hour. It went through a major building like it was not even there. Watching our equipment float down the river that didn't used to be a river was just something to see. Our primary damage was to electrical systems. So our switchgear was burned up, our compressors were burned up. We replaced about 240 motors, ranging from a half-horse motor up to 150 horsepower motors.
We had, at the end of the day, a $7 million insurable loss, and we were down from production for about 3 weeks.
After repairs were complete from the flood and the facility was back and operational, we started meeting with engineers from FM Global and our internal engineers to try to figure out options. What is the best option to keep this facility operational and minimize damage in the future?
The hurdle to overcome was it's a protected waterway, so we can't do anything that would change the floodplain or create other exposures to nearby property owners.
We went through all kinds of iterations on how to stop the water, how to prevent the water from coming on the property. We went through and we protected the assets that are the most difficult and most expensive to replace.
We wanted to focus our efforts on the manufacturing part of the facility. So we decided to recommend that they provide a flood wall that would keep the water from damaging their electrical switchgear, from damaging their ammonia compressor room, and to keep the water out of the more susceptible areas of flood damage, which is their office areas and their concentration syrup tanks and their blending department. And basically to direct that path of water into the building, through the building, and then back out with little damage as possible.
So it's a very unique situation. Usually you want to protect the whole building, but sometimes you can't feasibly do that, where it's not cost justified, or the return on investment for the client may not be there.
So this is the merge point where after we install all of the barriers, all of the water meets in this area here, and it diverts all of the water out into the rail yard and carries it away off the property.
Here's a look at the last 6 hours. Again, you can see that heavy line of rain moving through, but also what you can't really see is all the back building, how that rain just kind of trained over the same locations over and over again, which is why they got so much rain in a short period of time.
At around 10 p.m., I received my first alert from the USGS service. The creek had rang in at about 4.5 feet. Then at 12 o'clock, I got another alert, which rang in at over 10.5 feet. And about 7 a.m. the next morning, I finally got an alert where it had finally dropped underneath the flood level. I showed up at the plant around 8. I was expecting the worst. I came in and opened the front door. Everything was dry. I walked through the back of the main manufacturing plant, and it looks like just some water came in and left. It was beautiful.
Same creek, same facility, much different outcome. Instead of a $7 million loss, we had a minimum loss. The flood panels that we installed worked as designed, and so we were able to keep running the plant after a few days being down.
I don't know that I was surprised that it worked well. I was delighted that it worked well.
Due to FM Global's recommendations, we have been able to mitigate those risks over the last 10 years. So when you think about flood risk, you think about the hurricane and wind tier counties, we are much better prepared to handle that than we were 10 years ago.
It's very odd that you see something that you design and implement actually get put through the tests in your career, and see the designs work was rewarding.